The idea of ignoring people carries with it a weight of negative implications. Often, we associate it with deliberate dismissal, a manifestation of superiority, or a passive-aggressive tactic, such as leaving text messages unanswered to exert control. It's labelled in our social figure to perceive ignoring people as a mark of rudeness. Yet should everyone automatically be entitled to our attention? Are we obligated to respond simply because someone wants to engage with us? These questions are what made me reconsider the dynamics of attention and obligation in our interpersonal interactions. In fact, there are moments when choosing to ignore people can serve as a profound act of self-protection. By granting ourselves the liberty to disengage selectively, we safeguard our mental and emotional well-being amongst a world incessantly craving for our attention. Thus, I argue that embracing the occasional act of ignoring others is not merely beneficial but essential for maintaining our sanity in an age marked by relentless distractions. In this video, we discuss the benefits of ignoring people. Your attention is like a precious gold mine. Companies fight tooth and nail to grab it and shove their products down your throats. Social media influencers crave it to grow their fame. Even TV channels just want it to feed you their ads. Our employers want it, along with our entire free time and energy, to line their pockets while we get a fraction of the rewards. The bottom line? Attention equals money. And guess what? You're squandering it left and right. You waste it on mindless TV shows, conversations that go nowhere fast, scrolling through endless photos of people you barely know on Instagram. What about the creative spark waiting to ignite? These things demand dedication, a laser focus that can only be achieved by deliberately blocking out the noise. They require carving out quiet spaces, away from people, at least for a while. Social media might be full of connections, but are they real connections? You can rack up thousands of followers and quote-unquote friends, but how many of them can you truly count on? The same thing can happen offline too. People spread themselves thin, juggling a bunch of surface-level relationships, instead of investing in a few deeper ones. Think about it. Diversifying your portfolio is a smart move when it comes to money, but is it the best strategy for friendships? It all depends on what you're looking for, really. Maybe you're okay with a bunch of casual friends and acquaintances for small talk or a social media boost. Maybe you just want someone to show off or someone with a fat wallet. But imagine the hollowness of knowing a ton of people, calling them friends, even having a spouse who's just an arm candy, yet feeling utterly alone when things get tough. There's no one you can truly trust, no one to confide in. If you want real connections, the kind built on trust, companionship and acceptance, you have to be picky about who you let in. You can't be best friends with everyone. There just aren't enough hours in the day, and you wouldn't have the energy to nurture those deeper bonds. So what's the answer? Here's the thing. Ignoring people isn't exactly the most polite approach, but you have the right to choose who you spend your time and energy on. Your attention is valuable, and how you use it directly impacts your happiness and well-being. Don't be afraid to silence your phone, let emails and texts wait, resist the urge to follow every influencer, and basically say no to people who constantly demand your attention. After all, there's some truth to that old saying. Sometimes a little less is more. These days, it feels like everyone has an opinion, especially online. Every corner of the internet is full of people anonymously shouting out their thoughts on everything and anything. It's easy to get swept up in this hurricane of ideas, some good, some bad, and some just plain weird. While considering other viewpoints can be helpful, there's a danger in letting them completely drown out your own voice. The more we rely on outside opinions, the less we trust our own gut instinct and the ability we have to think critically for ourselves. This isn't a new idea. Way back in the 1800s, an American philosopher named Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote about this very thing in his essay Self-Reliance. He argued that the best way to navigate through life's choices isn't by following the crowd or blindly accepting what society tells us to do. Instead, we should trust that little voice inside, our own personal compass that guides us in the right direction. Emerson believed that true happiness and wisdom come from embracing our individuality and listening to that inner voice, even when it goes against the grain. He saw trusting ourselves as the key to living a more fulfilling and authentic life. In his own words, "What I must do is all that concerns me, not what the people think." This principle applies to everything we do, big or small. It's not always the easiest path, because there will always be people who think they know what's best for us, even better than we know ourselves. But according to Emerson, that's the difference between living a life of meaning and simply following the herd. While other people's ideas can be interesting and worth considering, Emerson believed they shouldn't drown out our own inner voice. Tuning out all the outside noise, especially people who like to tell us how to live and think, can help us hear ourselves better. Emerson admits that physically being alone is the easiest way to block out all that chatter, but the real challenge is staying true to yourself, even when you're around other people. As a content creator, I've definitely come across my fair share of jerks, people who throw insults and unhelpful criticism, hoping to shut me down. To be honest, it stings at first. But after a while you grow thicker skin. You learn to tune out the trolls and haters. The truth is, the more you're out there putting yourself in the spotlight, the more likely you are to attract some negativity. It all boils down to this: we care what others think. We crave approval and a good reputation. It's kind of wired into us from way back. The problem with wanting everyone to like you is that it's just not possible. There will always be people who dislike your work no matter what you do. You can't control it. You can get mad, argue, or try to win them over, but those tactics usually backfire. Often, the smartest move is to simply ignore them. It takes way less energy, and you don't get suckered into pointless arguments. A wise old philosopher named Epictetus had a great analogy for dealing with negativity. Imagine going to a public bath in ancient Rome. It's bound to be crowded and noisy, with some people splashing water and acting rude. If you accept that this is just part of the experience, you'll be less likely to get bothered by it. The same goes for the internet. When you put yourself out there, especially with a YouTube channel, negativity is kind of a given. It comes with the territory. So instead of letting it get to you, try to see it as part of the job description. Over time, those nasty comments become like those pesky flies on a summer day. Annoying, sure, but nothing worth getting worked up about. Sure, there's no doubt that modern technology has revolutionized the way we connect. Gone are the days of limited communication options. Now, people across the globe can reach you through a variety of channels. While your interactions were once restricted to those physically present, the digital age has brought the world to your fingertips. It's a constant presence, a persistent buzz in your pockets. Your smartphones, practically extensions of yourself, it feeds you with information and alerts 24/7. This constant influx of digital noise, for many, has become a major disruption to their inner peace. There's growing evidence to suggest that social media use isn't without its drawbacks. In fact, research published by the United States National Library of Medicine indicates a troubling trend. Excessive social media use is emerging as a significant contributor to mental health issues. The study highlights a strong link between social media and the development of anxiety, depression, insomnia, and feelings of stress and isolation. It essentially paints a picture of social media as a breeding ground for negativity, a place where self-esteem takes a beating amidst the constant stimuli and competition for attention. While social media can be a source of enjoyment and connection, it can also be a superficial, mass-produced version of real interaction. It's just another layer of noise in an already overwhelming media landscape, constantly vying for our focus. Disconnecting from this chaos, by silencing your phones and televisions, can be a powerful step towards reclaiming inner peace. Imagine the dramatic reduction in noise, the serenity of muting the countless voices vying for your attention. You could transform from being slave to technology to finding a state of calm. By being selective about who you give your attention to, you free yourself to build those stronger, more meaningful connections that will truly enrich your life. Thank you for watching.